If you have a stocks and shares ISA or you're thinking about opening one, you're going to want to pay attention because the government have just confirmed plans for a brand new tax charge that could affect the cash sitting inside of your stocks and shares ISA. And yes, you heard me right. We're talking about taxing money that's already inside of an ISA wrapper. Now, before we jump to conclusions, let's slow down and analyse what we know so far. Is this really as bad as it seems, or could there be a silver lining? I think it's important to put things into context first. This all stems from a decision from Chancellor Rachel Reeves from her autumn budget last year. She announced that from April 2027, the annual cash ISA allowance is going to be cut for anyone under 65 years old from £20,000 down to £12,000. The overall ISA limit stays at £20,000. She just wants more money going into stocks and shares ISAs rather than sitting in cash. Now you might think, okay, fine, I'll just move any money into a stocks and shares ISA, keep it as uninvested cash and earn interest that way. Problem solved, right? Well, not quite, because the government thought of that too, and that's where that 22% figure comes into play. Reports initially from the Telegraph and now confirmed by multiple sources suggest that from April 2027, any interest earned on cash held inside a stocks and shares ISA will be taxed at 22%. HMRC had already confirmed in the November 2025 newsletter that a charge on cash-like holdings in stocks and shares ISAs was coming. They just hadn't told us the rate yet. Now they have. And that 22% is the number. So let's be crystal clear about what this does and doesn't mean. Your existing ISA savings are unaffected. Any money within your ISA maintains its tax-free status. Capital gains and dividends on investments within your stocks and shares ISA, again, still tax-free. However, any interest earned on uninvested cash sitting inside of your stocks and shares ISA, that is what is taxed at 22% from April 2027. And why 22%? Well, it's not random. The basic rate of savings interest tax, which is the tax you pay on any savings outside of an ISA wrapper, that's going up to 22%. So this change is being made to match that. It's also worth mentioning that this isn't entirely new territory. Before 2014, this tax was actually already in place and you'd be charged interest on any uninvested cash. What they're essentially doing is bringing it forward and bringing it up to 22% to match today's standard. The government also confirmed that two other related rules are coming in at the same time. First, you won't be able to transfer money from a stocks and shares ISA back into a cash ISA if you're under 65 years old. That loophole is being closed. Second, and this is a bit of a grey area, so-called cash-like investments, things like money market funds, which are essentially very low-risk investments, they're going to face restrictions or charges. HMRC are still working on a definition of what cash-like actually means, but the intention is clear. Any cash or cash-like products are being targeted. So that's the factual picture. The policy's real, the finer details are still being tweaked, but the direction of travel is clear. Now, I want to be fair, and there are some genuine arguments in favour of this approach. So let's go through them. The first one is consistency. If you hold cash savings outside of an ISA, you already pay tax on the interest once you exceed your personal allowance, which is £500 for high rate taxpayers and £1,000 for basic rate taxpayers. Those thresholds haven't kept up with rising interest rates, which means millions of people are paying tax on their savings when they weren't a few years ago. The argument from the Treasury is, why should cash sitting inside of a stocks and shares ISA be treated any differently when they're essentially doing the same thing? There is some logic to that argument, even if I don't agree with it or where this could possibly lead. 2, it does tackle a genuine loophole. Investment platforms have been offering pretty competitive interest rates for any uninvested cash held in stocks and shares ISA accounts. Some people have basically been using it as a savings account. The government's view is that the ISA system wasn't designed to be a cash savings vehicle. It was designed for long-term investing. Again, you can argue, is this the right policy or the right way to go about it? But the position isn't totally unreasonable. If anything, this just emphasizes the importance of a tax wrapper. With dividends tax on the up, capital gains tax on the up, it's never been more important to have your investments protected within a stocks and shares ISA account. Perhaps you could argue that this is the government's way of giving you a nudge to make your cash work harder for you and invest it. But to me, it feels a little forceful, a bit too restrictive. It's almost like we're being blackmailed into this position as opposed to giving us the option. This tax year, the one we're currently in, is the last one before the new rules kick in. You still have the full cash ISA allowance of £20,000, and like I said, the new rules won't kick in until next year, April. So there's still time to plan. You can maximise your contributions towards either account, and maybe this is a good time to take stock and perhaps speak to a financial advisor about how to proceed once the new rules come in. Alright, I think I've given a pretty fair and decent account as to why these changes might be good. Now let's look at why these changes deserve some scrutiny. Number one, the timing is a mess. The industry has been flagging this for months, but as of right now, we still don't know the exact details of how this is going to be implemented. Investment platforms need to rebuild systems, reconfigure how cash is handled, and also communicate this to their customers. Giving them absolutely no lead-up time to do this is a recipe for disaster. It's going to increase errors and cause mass confusion for its users. 2. It penalises the cautious, not the clever. One of the most uncomfortable aspects of this policy is that it doesn't really target the sophisticated tax avoiders. It hits the everyday saver and investor. People who have opened a stocks and shares ISA account, perhaps they've built up some cash and they're just waiting for the right time to invest. Or they're not comfortable putting everything into the market all at once. Even Martin Lewis stated that this could be a disadvantage for older or more risk-averse savers, and they could have a legitimate reason for wanting more cash accessible. The rules as they stand doesn't disseminate between someone trying to game the system or someone that's just nervous about investing. 3. The wider savings tax picture is pretty bleak. This doesn't just exist in isolation. Let's stack up all the changes that will take place by April 2027. The cash ISA allowance will be cut to £12,000 for anyone under the age of 65. Savings interest tax rising to 22% for basic rate, 42% for higher rate, and 47% for additional rate. Dividend tax is already up to 10.75% or 35.75%. And now the 22% charge on cash interest on anything held in a stocks and shares ISA account. That's a lot of moving parts all coming at the same time. And the people being hit often aren't the wealthiest. They're ordinary savers and investors just like you and I. 4. Will it even work? The entire justification for cutting the ISA allowance and now this new charge is that it wants more people to invest in stocks and shares. But AJ Bell's CEO, Michael Summersgill, wrote directly to Rachel Reeves saying that the reforms are doomed to fail. His argument is that there's no evidence that forcing people out of cash ISAs will push them towards the stock market. It's more likely to push them towards regular taxable savings account where HMRC will be able to take their cut. The cynic in me agrees with this take. In other words, the policy will raise money for the Treasury, but it won't achieve the investing culture it claims to want. 5. The effect on building societies. This is a knock-on effect that often gets overlooked. Cash ISAs don't just sit there. Banks and building societies use them to fund mortgages. The Building Societies Association has already warned that shrinking cash ISA pots could reduce lending, and that could cause an increase in mortgage rates. And let's face it, none of us want that. So where does this leave us? The 22% charge on cash interest within the Stocks and Shares ISA is real. It's all but confirmed, and it's coming next year, April 2027. Whether you think it's a reasonable anti-avoidance measure or it unfairly penalises investors or cautious savers probably depends on your own personal circumstance. What I'd say is this: if you have any uninvested cash sitting inside of a Stocks and Shares ISA, it's probably a good idea to think about what you're going to do with it. And if you're unsure, speak to a qualified financial advisor. This is a story that's still developing, nothing's set in stone, and there may be more changes before it lands in April next year. Thanks for watching, and if you found this useful, perhaps share it with someone who has a Stocks and Shares ISA, but they might not be aware of what's coming. And on that note, I'll catch you in the next one, guys.